So good afternoon, everyone. So as I said, as a technology strategist at Crestron, I enable our research and development to enable change. And change is everywhere, and it is here to stay. And the truth is that nobody really likes to change. What is hard about change is the reluctance to leave behind what has worked well for us in the past. Things we used to do normally, why change? They were good. Now, people don't change when they see the light. People only change when they feel the heat, when it's really needed. And it makes us feel uncomfortable. But it is better to feel uneasy than to become obsolete or to become extinct. And the bad news of our time is that there is an alarming increase of the amount of changes that are happening. We live in a time of auto-catalytic change, is what they say. Each change increases the rate of the next change. And it goes very fast. I know in this audience, most of you speak Swedish. Yeah? Are there people who have an other native language than Swedish? Please raise your hand. Can you stand up? Very sorry for that. Okay. No, please, stand up, keep standing up. This person is taking a selfie. Now I want to say, in your language, what is this word? Selfie is the first word in human history that is the same in every language. You can sit down. Thank you. No other word in the world is the same in every language. And why is that? Because the speed of information today travels so fast that the different cultures did not have the time to create their own word for selfie. So now let us look at some major changes the Pro AV industry has overcome in the past 25 years. Every technology will eventually move to the network. Try to think yourself, not now, maybe later in the evening, try to think yourself to come up with 5 technologies that did not move to the network. Maybe fire, if you can call fire a technology. But electricity did, in the form of PoE. Now, in the AV world, the move to the network started about 25 years ago, when certain devices started to embrace a network port on their products, like sound servers. It was the era of the MP3, and having a network port would allow people to see and scroll through playlists. Also, some video conferencing gear and projectors started to embed the network port. Equally, we as Crestron enabled our control systems onto the network in 1998. Why? Well, it made it easier to configure systems. It made it easier to do integrations over IP. Like I said, having a playlist onto the touchscreens to be able to scroll through it, you couldn't have done that over RS-232. Not only that, from a user interface, it was the era of the PDA, and we had a browser, so why having a touch panel if I could do some certain things through a browser and control my room that way? Today, the network became a carrier for audio, video, and now equally USB data. And we had to change. The change in the AV world, we had to start even from the basis, understanding the IT language, understanding what an IP address is, what port routing was, what VPNs are, VLANs, codecs, snooping, name it. It's all new to us. So we had to change. Another change, a major change for the AV world was in 2008, 2009 when analog moved to digital. Digital audio and video started to take over from their analog counterparts. Very soon, S-video, composite video, component video phased out. But it still took until 3-4 years ago that VGA died. So there was a long period of time where you had a mixture of analog and digital video, audio and video. And today, I think we all see the advantages of that shift from analog to digital. But it wasn't easy for us. There were so many issues that occurred when distributing audio, digital audio and video. We had mismatched resolutions and frame rate considerations. Some of you might have done home theaters 15, 20 years ago, where you had these masking screens to cover up those resolutions. In digital video, it was totally different. Instead of having vertical maskings, you should go to horizontal maskings because of all these resolution changes. Not only that, signal integrity issues. Digital, it's a 1 and a 0 that travel over a cable. Millions of ones and zeros. If that cable passes through an air conditioning tube, how fast it could change a 1 into a 0 or a 0 into 1, so your information completely changed. New cable length restrictions. A cable, an HDMI cable, can support 1080p on 5 meters, but it cannot support 4K on 5 meters, or even let alone 8K. So we had all these challenges, all these new things. We had to change how we designed systems, but equally how we debugged systems. The technicians in this space who are in the AV world for more than 10 years know. In the past, when you went in a room like this and you saw horizontal spikes on the screen, you know there was something wrong with the horizontal sync. When there was red, a little bit more red and green, you had some issues with your RGB. In digital, it's a 1 or a 0. You have an image or no image, but you don't know what the issue is. So we had to change the way how we design, how debug and install systems. Another change started around 2014 with Microsoft Link, where Microsoft came out with Link, which today all know of Microsoft Teams. In the past it was Link, then they went to Skype, and then Skype to Business, and then Teams. But Microsoft came out in 2014 with the concept Link Room Systems, bringing Link, unified communication, into the meeting room. The adoption was there, but not as it is today. Traditional video conferencing, yeah, it did its thing. It was expensive. But the cloud and web-based, I don't know. So we took a virus, COVID, to accelerate, and today UC is king. While video conferencing in the past was just a source and a destination in a big AV system, we got the signal out of the video conferencing, brought it on the screen, brought our sources back into video conferencing, but that was it. Today, in many spaces, in many rooms, it's the heart of the system, the MTR, the Microsoft Team rooms, and the Zoom room systems. And using the change with a lot of new technologies again. USB. USB, something we never saw in the Pro AV world, now suddenly has a prominent place. But equally, again, new IT language we had to learn on how to deploy MTR systems and Zoom room systems. And a change of today. Equally, thanks to COVID, where we all started to work hybridly, working from home. Now, it's not that as efficient as we all hope it is. So a lot of companies are trying to bring their people back into the office. By this, they have been investing the past years a lot in technology. So there's a lot more technology in the building today. But unfortunately, your teams haven't expanded with so many people to support that. Doing more with less. You have to do a lot more rooms, you have to service and support a lot more technology in the building than in the past, but with the same amount of people. On top, you don't have visibility of a lot of spaces anymore, because that's another issue, buying cheap systems that cannot be managed and monitored remotely. Now, how can we overcome this change and avoid to have these robots walk the show floor? The first thing is, make sure that your solutions are installer friendly, that they're easy to scale. But equally, make sure that they're easy to use, so you will have less user service calls. It's all about the user experience. Nobody owns the customer anymore, but someone always owns the experience. From us as a manufacturer to the integrators in this space, from the integrators in this room to the end user, but equally from the end user here to the actual users in the space. User experience is key. Business loyalty today is unfortunately nothing more than the absence of something better. second part of to be change ready is selecting solutions which can easily be upgraded. Whether it's through software updates, adding extra features, functionalities, modern features, modern tools, or changing just a few components in your system to get it back up there. Selecting solutions that are flexible to grow and to upgrade is a good strategy to arm yourself to change, because it allows you to adapt to new challenges and opportunities as they arise. A flexible solution also allows for customization. You can still do customization and make them scalable. It enables businesses to respond a lot quicker on the changing market conditions and the needs of the customer. It also helps to bring out solutions that are future-proof. It's very important. Investing in flexible solutions, then you have the agility to incrementally improve and add the system how technology and how things are evolving. And this approach will make you stay ahead of your competitor. It's important. You all have competitors. Equally, choosing quality over price is a better strategy for growth. In the beginning of the back to work after COVID lockdown time, a lot of companies, we saw that a lot of enterprises did panic purchases. They wanted to bring their people back into the office, and there were only 3 rooms who could invite people that still work remote or that still are not in the office. And now suddenly every room needs to have a soundbar or a webcam so we can all do video conferencing or bring people in remote. With that in mind, today we hear from those same enterprises only complaints, because they bought cheap solutions, they bought cheap systems to just get something up and going. And now they have to do the same investment in these spaces or a new investment in these same spaces, because the systems they have today is not what they want. Now, reliable and secure solutions provide that solid foundation for growth and innovation. You can trust that your operations run smoothly, you reduce downtime, minimize errors, and increase productivity, which are essential for adapting to change. Now, lastly, stay informed. Experience is a valuable teacher. We can learn from the lessons, from the past experiences to help us navigate new challenges and new opportunities. We can also learn from our failures, from our mistakes, learn from our successes. And this allows us to be more prepared, again, when we are faced with new situations and new conditions. Now, these 4 things are values that we at Crestron take very high up when we develop new products. Simple to deploy and easy to use, where we constantly strive to provide and to make your life and the life of your customers easier. Flexible to grow and to upgrade by providing a solution that allows you to easily scale. And creating an evolving platform at Crestron that enables you to enable applications or to develop their own applications on top of it. And at the same time providing you tools to easily manage and monitor the entire system, not only Crestron devices. Reliable and secure by design, giving you a peace of mind when you go to a customer and put products on their network. Make sure they can handle the latest security standards. And all of that equally thanks to you. At events like this, where we talk, where we share experiences, where we share successes, where we share failures, where we talk about the needs of you, your customers. This is what we at Crestron do a lot when we design new products. Now, as I said, greater understanding, informed by experience, greater understanding leads to better solutions. So let me take you through some emerging technologies and things that we see to brace yourself from uncertainty. And I will give as well some sneak peeks on what we as Crestron are doing with these trends moving forward. And the first trend, in fact, it's nothing new. It's been going on for ages. It's called digital transformation. The world is becoming increasingly digital, in fact, exponentially. As I say, autocatalytic change. Every change accelerates the next one. And that transitioning is happening everywhere around us. Equally in the workplace. That was an office in 1999. Our agenda was paper, our contacts was paper, and yes, our telephone was analog. And when I was giving technical support at Crestron in 1999, I did use the fax machine to give technical support, taking manuals, printed on paper, put them on the fax, highlight certain things, and fax it through. 10 years later, the mobile phone the smartphone was invented. And that allows us, or we could then enjoy a synchronized agenda between our laptop, calendar on our laptop, and our calendar on our phone. And unfortunately, the dog passed away. Today, this is how our office looks like. And in fact, it's not even our office anymore. It's a desk we share with others. Because all these things have been migrated into software. But equally in our daily lives, all the purpose-built analog, mainly analog devices on the left, have been transformed into software that runs on a powerful compute that even fits in the pocket of our pants, of our purses. But equally in the automotive industry, a car 20 years ago, 30 years ago was an electromechanical machine. Today, it's a state-of-the-art, powerful compute that can also drive. It provides an evolutionary platform. If when I buy a car, a modern electrical car today, I don't have to choose all the options when I purchase the car. I can do that later on. I can go online, put my credit card, add functionality to my car, and overnight my car gets a firmware update, and suddenly in the morning it drives itself. But this is what's happening. This is what consumers want. They want the ability to choose when they want to do things, and not when they purchase a car, only that. But equally, the most trivial thing, whether we like it or not, paper money and coins will fade out and will be transplaced by modern software-based type of crypto solutions or digital currencies. But equally in the audiovisual world, if you walked into a musical recording studio 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that's what you saw, a mixing panel of 3-4 meters wide. If you do that today in a modern state-of-the-art recording studio, that's what you see, a computer, a mouse keyboard, a microphone, and some studio monitor speakers, that's it. That's what a modern recording studio looks like. But also at home, my kids, for example, they're now between 16 and 19, 4 of them. None of them watch cable TV. None of them watch the satellite TV. They hardly even touch the DVD or Blu-ray player. They watch Netflix, YouTube. But equally in the office, as I said, traditional video conferencing has been transformed and replaced by web-based conferencing tools. Now why? Why is this happening? Why is this digital transformation happening? Why? Well, a major advantage of it is that you're free from these legacy restrictive systems. Hardware will always create a bottleneck. With software, that scales a lot faster. Also, like I said, the way how consumers want to consume, having the flexibility to turn applications on and off, like that self-driving feature I just explained with the car. If I don't want it in the beginning, because I maybe don't trust it, I don't buy it. But then when I see my neighbor leaving his driveway, reading the newspaper in his car, I say, that's what I want. And then I can still do that. Agility. Transforming hardware into the software allows us to remain nimble and be a lot more responsive on innovations and trends in the market. For us as a manufacturer, time to market with software is faster than with hardware. With hardware, be realistically 2.5 to 3 years. With software, I can get it out with basic functionality in 5 weeks, 6 weeks if I want to. Now, does this mean that we at Crestron, but also other partners in this space, will abandon hardware and all move into software? No. But have that hybrid way of doing things. And another thing is like that as a software. So creating more and more software applications. Not only applications within Crestron like Crestron Home or AV Framework or tools like Fusion or XR Cloud, but think about things like VC4. We have our control system platform, which was a hardware box. We now have VC4 available, which is a virtualized way of doing that, enabling scalability. You can scale a lot faster with VC4 than you do with CP4s. I don't have to mount 200 CP4s in my building. No, I only have to install one-time VC4 and enable 400 rooms. I don't need 400 IP addresses from the network. I only need one. I don't need to install, physically mount 400 control systems. 4 screws times 400, 1,600 screws in your 19-inch rack. So it saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of money, it makes it easier for you to deploy and to install. But equally that, we started decoupling hardware and software already many years ago in 2017 with our scheduling platform. Not only having Crestron scheduling solutions, but also 20, 30 different partners that can run their software on our purpose-built hardware. Going even now into desk scheduling, reserving your desks. But equally on the Pro AV side, on the audio-visual side with our NVX, NAX and NUX technology. Video onto the network, audio onto the network, and the U stands for in NUX for USB data. Getting that USB data and share anything anywhere. Share it as well with software applications. Talking about USB, that's the next trend I would quickly like to highlight upon. And the U in USB should stand for universal, but USB is far from universal. First of all, it's a fire hose. I call it a fire hose of many different technologies. From data, power, DisplayPort, alt mode, Thunderbolt, PCI Express, name it. And not every USB port on a device can have all those functionalities. This USB port might not even support DisplayPort alt mode. This USB port might give out 5 volts instead of 20 volts. There is no consistency, there is no universal standardization on USB. USB was designed for from the personal device on your desk for mouse and keyboards, but today it's used in Pro AV installations where it's not that easy. As I said, not every device has the same functionalities, let alone the 7-hop tier. By the way, tomorrow afternoon there is a great lecture here, a presentation about USB. Follow it because it is often a nightmare, or it gives a lot of headaches into system deployments and system designs. Massive bandwidth. The latest USB 4.0 standard gives you up to 40 gigabits per second on a cable. Can you imagine us making a 40 gigabit per second cable USB switch? You're up in the price range of data center grade switches. And then comes along again those cable length restrictions, etc. Another complexity of USB is the amount of different connectors. I think there are 12 different USB connectors. We always need a dongle and adapter. Luckily, that will probably be solved by the USB-C connector because of a lot of advantages of USB-C. Let alone the major advantages for me is the asymmetrical rotation. With normal USB, like this USB-B, I always put it in wrong, all the time. I have to do it twice. With USB-C, we don't care. On top of it, USB-C also gives power, a lot of power, even up to 240 watts of power today with the latest 4.0 standard. Now, at the end of this year, end of 2024, the European Union set a law that there are no mobile phones, no cameras, other mobile devices allowed to be sold in the EU without a USB-C connection to charge it. And that same obligation will be pulled through by the spring of 2026, so exactly in 2 years' time, that every laptop that will be sold in the European Union will need to have USB-C. So that's a good thing. Those two together, the fact that USB-C is so powerful from a technology perspective and so easy, user experience, to connect the USB-C cable in your laptop or in your device, and that European law will make USB-C the standard connector for USB data moving forward. And on top of it, USB 4 is only supported on USB-C cable or connector. At Crestron, we've been listening to the needs, we've been following trends, we do that constantly, that's one of my jobs. And we have started embracing USB-C in many products already for more than a few years. DM Lite, for example, we have USB-C, including charging. We have USB-C switchers. Even Air Media, our connect adapter is a USB-C adapter. Doesn't require any software. It uses DisplayPort alt mode technology. So I just plug it in here, and this laptop thinks it's connected directly to the projector. Equally in Flex, our Flex portfolio, our Flex solutions offer USB-C connectivity for BYOD purposes, for content sharing purposes. And yes, our next generation of NVICs will, of course, as well support USB-C. Speaking of NVICs and video and HDMI, let's quickly talk about the new HDMI 2.1 standard. The biggest difference with the 2.0 is, of course, the support for 8K. Now, the adoption rate for 8K will not be so much in the living room or in the meeting room. Averagely, we sit about 3 to 4 meters from our TV at home. In order for 8K to make a visible difference for us, we would need a display with a diameter or a diagonal of 7 meters for us to see the difference between 4K and 8K on that distance of 4 meters. It's massive. My living room will never have the ability to do that. Where we see adoption on that front is, of course, video walls, sports stadia. That's where you're going to see those things, where it's going to see an adoption of 8K. But one thing is, 8K has a massive bandwidth of about 48 gigabits per second. With that massive bandwidth, we don't always need 4K. What we can do with that bandwidth is also go to 4K, but at 120 hertz. Yeah? And that has some cool applications. E-gaming, medical. This is where 8K, at least the 2.1, 4K, 120 hertz will make a difference. Now, how fast will this go? Some of you might have seen this slide, because I'm showing this already 5, 6 years. Just look, HDMI, 1080p, the spec was released in 2003. It took 5 years for the first Pro AV systems to come out with HDMI connectivity. And that's correct. In 2008, we released digital media HDBaseT. That's what we released in 2008. But it still took another 5 years for 50% of our sales, but of all the entire AV industry, had HDMI connectivity. So it's about 10 years from the spec up until mass adoption. And funny enough, exactly the same time frame happened with 4K. Released in 2009, 2014, first 4K products in the Pro AV world, and yet another 5 years to have mass adoption. So if we take that same analogy to 8K, we'll still have time up until 2028 to have mass adoption. By 2023, last year, the first 8K products should have been released. Was that the case? Yes. We released our first 8K product a year ago under the form of a display controller. It's a very simple box, 8K in, 8K out, but you had the ability to inject CEC control, to inject RS-232 and IR control. Think about those MTR spaces. An MTR space, the MTR, the team system does not turn off my display, but I want to save some energy to save the environment. So I want to turn off the display when nobody's in the room. Why have a display up when nobody's in the space? So having this product, you can link it to a motion sensor, to our own PoE motion sensor over the network, but equally to any motion sensor. You have that digital input in the front. When there is motion, this box will turn on the display. When there is no motion for about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, that's how you set it up in the web interface of this product or through XHAO Cloud, you can have it work standalone. But equally, through the network port, you can link it to any Crestron control system and use it as an extension of control ports. 3 weeks ago, we released a new 8K switcher, a 2x1 8K switcher with exactly the same functionality as that one, but then with 2 8K inputs. And in a few weeks, we're going to release this product. Because another piece of the HDMI 2.1 standard is eARC, Enhanced Audio Return. And it's been asked a lot. Like I said, my kids don't watch cable TV, satellite TV, Blu-ray. They watch Netflix. And where do they watch it on? On the smart TV. How do I get the audio from the smart TV on my stereo speakers in the room? You need ARC, audio return. So this product will take out on the HDMI output, which is connected to your smart display. It will take the audio from your smart display, and it will put it onto the network as an NAX, or a network audio system, or AES67, as 2 AES67 channels, which you then can send to Dante amplifiers or AES67 amplifiers, or maybe even directly speakers. HDBaseT. Is HDBaseT dead? No, not at all. We do see a shift from the larger HDBaseT systems, the 8x8, 16x16, 128x128, to AV over IP solutions. Why? Well, AV over IP is a lot more flexible, a lot more scalable, and even in larger systems, more price efficient. I don't have this asymmetrical design. When I buy a 16x16 matrix switcher, I don't always have 16 sources and 16 displays, so there will be empty inputs or outputs, but you pay for it. You pay for the 16x16 switcher. With AV over IP, that's not the case. You only take as much encoders as you have sources and as much decoders as you have destinations, and that's it. So it's often in those type of situations even more budget-friendly. And at Crestron, we still invest in HDBaseT. We brought out a new HDBaseT system in our DM Lite portfolio. The boxes are here on the floor down, where you can indeed use that soundbar, USB soundbar, and transmit that over the HDBaseT wire, either through a USB-C laptop or through a laptop with HDMI and USB over a single cable. We even brought out a product that can do even switching. That soundbar can be shared with the AirMedia system. When somebody plugs in this in the laptop, then they have wireless conferencing. The soundbar comes wireless onto this laptop, or through the HDBaseT wire to a USB-C connected laptop. Or in a few weeks, we're going to release a firmware update, again scalable, remember, flexible to upgrade and to scalable, adding you extra features by a simple firmware update. This product will turn on the 5-volt on and off to an MTR on Android soundbar. This soundbar runs Teams. An MTRA soundbar runs on Teams, so I can walk in this meeting room and do a Teams call without a laptop. But I can also equally walk in this meeting room, connect my laptop with USB-C, and at that point in time, we turn on the 5-volt. What does that soundbar do? It will shut down Teams on the soundbar, and it will become a stupid USB soundbar and provide the camera, the mic, and the speaker to the connected laptop. This is enabling BYOD capabilities into MTR rooms, but equally Zoom rooms. The last trend, maybe the most discussed trend of the past few months, is artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence, it's a big buzzword. It laid its foundation in the middle of the 20th century, about 75 years ago, by a British computer expert, Alan Turing. You might have heard of the Turing test. Now, during the past 75 years, a lot of subsets were created, from machine learning to basic algorithms to the creation of artificial neural networks. But it took until 1997 before IBM's Deep Blue, the chess computer from IBM, beat the world champion Garry Kasparov in a 6-game match. Now, the past decade, we all have been training AI, whether you know it or not. When you downloaded something, you had these CAPTCHAs that you had to type in. But equally, you definitely had the case where you had to select the 3 bicycles on these 9 pictures, or the traffic lights, or the crossroads. Funny, it's all about cars. It's all about driving. So we all have been training self-driving cars. The past 12 years when we selected, because we showed the AI, this is what we as human beings identify as a car or as a bicycle. So now AI knows, okay, that's a bicycle, that's as well a bicycle. So it knows now, and now it can be used to enable that in self-driving cars. Now it's making a very fast leap forward, and there's some very interesting AI engines that we can use in our day-to-day lives. OpenAI, ChatGPT, we all know ChatGPT. It's a new way of searching information. I'm going to expand on that. You all know it, I'm sure. If not, buy a laptop, go to YouTube and look it up. IBM Watson. IBM Watson is powerful in learning from a small subset of data. Medical. There is an operation, well, there's a hospital in the UK that is a test case for IBM Watson, where IBM Watson was able to reduce the waiting time in the emergency room in half, less than half. The average waiting time was about 2.5 hours. Now it reduced it to less than 45 minutes. And why is that? Because IBM Watson, when the person came in, IBM Watson could say, these are potential things you can have, but those million things you will never have. So IBM Watson straight away called only those specialists that have something to do with what you can. Instead of human beings having to walk in, do all these interviews with you, and then find another one comes in, another specialist. No, it's not this. IBM Watson did it in there. Amazon Lex. If you ever build a chatbot, Amazon Lex is a perfect conversational AI. Google Assistant. Cool. Go to YouTube and search Google Assistant making an appointment with a hairdresser. Seriously, it's no human interface, no human person did this. It's just Google Assistant making a phone call with a hairdressing salon and goes through your agenda, see when you are free, negotiate with the hairdressing salon all by itself, makes the appointment and puts it in your agenda. It's amazing things you can do. And then, of course, Microsoft Copilot. This will change the way how we work. Microsoft Copilot has access to all my documents, not only my documents, but the entire documents of the company. So there is a danger there. Make sure your restrictions are set right. But it will drastically change the way we work. With Copilot, I no longer need to attend multiple meetings. So very often my agenda is booked with, at the same time, 3 meetings. I can only follow one. But with Copilot, I can ask Copilot to follow the other 2. And at the end of the meeting, Copilot will give me a summary of what I said. It can even give me, including who said what and who was aligned with those points and who was against those points. It can suggest action items, and that all real time. So it will change the way how we work. And there is one more engine that I would like to thank, and that is DALL-E. Because all the slides you've seen so far have been created by AI. Yeah? Graphical. So it saved a lot of time from our marketing department, our graphical people, to not have to make all these pictures for me. DALL-E made them for me. Just by a few sentences that I gave, make me a picture that does this or that shows this. And within 10 seconds, I had a picture. So thank you, DALL-E. Now, the adoption of AI in the AV world will definitely transform the way how audio-video systems are being designed, how they're being deployed, and how they're being maintained. But equally, it will help with that immersive meeting experience, intelligent audio, intelligent video. And one area where AI will definitely be used is with things like predictive maintenance. AI will be able in the near future to tell us when rooms will go down while they're still up and running. It will be able to automate certain tasks, to do audio-video calibration depending on the light conditions of this room and the shade condition of this room. It can do it all automatically. This is what AI is powerful at. We've been using AI in our products already for quite some years. Our Flex portfolio can count the amount of people that are in a space. Think about those lockdowns and social distancing, where a meeting room of 10 people now was only maximum with 5. We could send alerts to facility or to HR that a meeting room was supposed to be with 5, but there are now 7 people in. So we could give that information. But not only that, our intelligent video giving all this conversation mode, speaker tracking, picture-in-pictures, group framings. It's all done automatically. Like conversation mode, AI will know who are the 2 people who speak last, and it will make sure and put them side by side so you don't have a tennis match game effect. You can see them side by side having a discussion with each other. But equally, and I seriously invite you to go to our sideline space here, 1 floor down, where we show automated VX with AI, where it automatically detects people, it sees how we are oriented, it repositions the camera. You can move 15 centimeters or half a meter to the left, the camera will automatically follow and adjust. These are a visual AI that we use in this. Now, as technology continues to develop, AI will become increasingly important. It will improve system performance, it will reduce our maintenance cost, and it will enhance just the overall user experience. Remember, user experience is key. However, it's worth noting that there are also some dangers with adoption of AI, particularly around privacy, security, and as well job displacement. But I always say to people about AI, AI will not replace your job, at least not for the next 10, 15 years. But somebody who knows how to use AI will replace your job. So, as technology continues to develop, something wrong here. So, as you have hopefully taken away, change isn't something to be afraid of if you arm yourself. And at Crestron, we are trying to simplify your day, whether you're a user of the space or whether you're a person responsible for the good working of that space. Technology should be there to serve you and not you servicing technology. And how do we do this? Well, by extending your senses, connecting your eyes and ears with any content from anywhere, even connecting your eyes and ears with any person around the world. We're extending your touch with all the technology in the room, at the workplace and at home. Taste the power of technology at the smell of fresh air. Thank you.